All right. Council, if you will come to order, it is 8:02 p.m. and we have returned from recess. And I'll go to Board Chairman to call his meeting to order.
I call to order at 8:03, Trophy Club Municipal Utility District Number 1. We do have a quorum with Mr. Director Thomas, and it is, as I said, 8:03. We will go into a joint session meeting, and if no one objects, and with the acceptance of the mayor, I suggest that we turn it over to him to run through the agenda items. Does anyone have any objections?
No objections.
Okay. Mayor, you have the floor.
All right. Thank you. I guess Renee's handing out a change, or is it just a
This is the
bigger copy?
This is the fire budget with the mud side and the town side together.
Okay. And did any data figures change that were in your budget from this?
They changed from what we sent out last Friday because we just got the certified,
Oh,
final
okay.
certified today.
Okay, all right. It's right up to date.
Yes, sir.
All right. We will go to the council agenda item number 9. What number is that on your agenda? I don't have that in front of me.
Is that our first one?
Is that 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. it's
All right. Review and take appropriate action regarding the interlocal cooperation agreement for administration of fire protection services between the town of Trophy Club and Trophy Club Municipal Utility District Number 1. There are a series of reports there. There's a copy of the agreement. There's also some inspection reports and things that have been provided to both sides. I don't know if those inspection reports and maintenance certifications went to the MUD separately or not, did they? Or this is your first chance to see them?
No, we've seen it.
You've seen them, okay. Council, so this may be new for you. Anybody have any questions about those inspection reports and things that were provided as part of the packet?
Not here.
Is there anyone on
Chief
the
Carroll,
mud?
any comments?
No, sir. The packet is complete with all the same information that was presented to you in April with the updates year to date.
All right. And Mud, did y'all have any questions?
No.
All right. From the town standpoint, I would entertain a motion to receive the reports that have been presented in the packet. Someone wish to move to receive them?
Make a motion to receive the reports as received at the dais.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, Councilmember Lamont moved and Councilmember Kurtz seconded. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, call for the vote from the council. All in favor, show your hands. All opposed, same sign. It is unanimous. I'll turn the meeting over to President Carr.
I'll entertain a motion to approve, take appropriate action on interlocal agreement, cooperation agreement for administration of fire protection services between the town and Trophy Club and the Trophy Club Municipal Utility District Number 1. Do I have a motion? Motion by Vice President Wilson. Do I have a second? I recognize Secretary Treasurer Rose as a second. Anyone have any discussion on it? I see none. All in favor, show of hands. I have myself, Vice President Wilson, Secretary Treasurer Rose, and Director Hayes. All 4, no opposed, passes.
All right. Go on to Town Council Item 10 and MUD number 2. Consider and take appropriate action regarding the Fire Protection Services fiscal year 2017-18 budget. What's presented before council, we had a copy of a budget that was prepared by the fire chief and staff. The MUD has part of their packet, had a budget that they were working off of. And what's been handed out at the dais tonight is an updated copy of what the MUD has, where Renee made sure what the town had was listed in a column, and you adjusted some things based on the fact that you got certified tax rolls. So the changes that got affected by the certified tax roll are down in the slightly gray area on page 2. Is that where you're kind of dealing with that, or?
That area That area on the bottom of page 2 is where we determine what the MUD pays back to the town monthly. And what that does is we take the total of the budget and we subtract out the items that we pay directly out of our side of the budget. And we take out the revenues, the pit assessment, and the fire permits, and the Denton County pledge. Those 3 things come out, and what's left is the $608,896. That's the total we will be paying the town in monthly payments of $50,741. So basically, if you take the $608,896 and add back your revenues there on the top part of our first page of the budget, it equals your $1,105,636. So,
All right.
okay.
And so,
It's actually just frozen. Oh my God, so sorry.
that's all right.
Got a hammer.
So sorry.
Okay, Amber and John, I know you haven't maybe had too much chance to review the new spreadsheet, but did you have any other considerations that you wanted to call our attention to? Whether it's in the fire budget or this consolidated item?
No, Mayor, not at this time. We're going to review this over the next couple of minutes and just make sure that there's nothing. We just want to review the most up-to-date spreadsheet, so
right.
a few minutes.
Chief Carroll, I know today you were comparing the items in your budget to what the MUD had in their packet. Were there any differences that you came up with or questions?
No, sir, there was not. There was a couple of line item changes where the MUD did not have a line item that the town had. So there was a change for Denton County dispatch fees, but the amounts were all exactly the same. The only difference that I see between this spreadsheet and the one previously submitted that would be of concern to the town would be on the revenue side. Originally, they had $16,000 coming in from Denton County Fire Pledge. That is down to $10,000 now, which is accurate. They get $10,000 for fire calls within Denton County, and we got $6,000 last year between EMS, and that was a mistake on our part to give them both numbers instead of just the fire calls.
Okay. All right. Renee and MUD Board, any questions?
No, I just want to make a note. Renee actually did an exceptional job, and she had calculated the tax rate at, is it correct, at .06870? Is that the number we're looking at?
Hold on. .06870, yes.
Yeah.
And
That's the
based
projected
on
tax
the
rate.
numbers as they are.
Right, and that's down from the current rate.
Yes, the previous year is in the left, well, y'all, yeah,
Yeah, .07445.
yeah, so it is down.
I just want to note that.
All right. We are agendaed to where we could take action on this if we wanted to. However, all of this has kind of been coming together very quickly, and so you may want some time to look at it. Just a moment. So a note says, town will prepare a budget for fire, present to the town council and district for approval at a joint meeting before August 1st. So that's wording in the interlocal agreement?
Correct.
And both parties shall approve the contractual budget by August 15th. So are you saying, based on the ILA, that we should take action tonight?
That I would defer to the attorney.
So what,
I'm just the
David,
paralegal.
what the ILA says is town will prepare a budget for the fire, present to the town council and the district for approval at a joint meeting before August 1st.
For approval at a joint meeting?
That's what it says. So we
So if
both
it's-
should take action then,
Sounds like the approval has to be in a joint meeting too, the way you're saying.
right?
So if you don't approve it tonight, you're gonna have to schedule another
We
joint
could come
meeting.
back with changes, though.
You could amend the budget later.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could approve one and amend it before beginning of It just says the first approval.
before the
needs to
budget
be-
is posted. Yeah. But I think, as Philip said, we need to approve it by August 1st. If any amendments come up, then we can do it before the deadline.
Yeah, if there's something material that comes up, then we can make those modifications.
All right. So council, I would entertain a motion that we approve the fire budget as presented tonight for 2017, 2018. Who would make that motion?
I'll make it. I'll make a motion that we approve the 2017 and 2018 fire budget.
I do have a second.
Second.
I do have a question.
All right, it was moved by Councilmember Fleury, seconded by Councilmember Schaffner. We have a question.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
Jensen.
Line item in regards to vehicle maintenance, why is it doubled?
Are you looking, do you have the number?
Yes, sir, under town expenses. That went from 20,000 2017 budget to now 46,000 in 2018.
Yes, sir. If you look in the fuel line item as well, we moved about $13,000 out of fuel into vehicle maintenance. The old budgets had both preventative maintenance and fuel in the same line. I found it very difficult for us to track accurately those numbers and expenditures and be able to forecast fuel costs. So we'd actually divided that out. So we actually pushed that money into the vehicle maintenance budget. So that's about $14,000 of it. And the rest of that is we had preventative maintenance budgeted in that line item, but no line for unforeseen repairs that were needed. So that money always had to be found in other places. So we have a little bit of money set aside now to make those emergency repairs if needed.
All right. And Philip had his hand up.
Yeah, and this is mainly to the benefit of the MUD board, since this is the first year that we've actually ran the fire department. I think if you will look at a lot of line items, whether it be safe training, whether it be things like physicals, tests, things like that, you're going to notice a jump, you know, from like physicals and tests, 700 to 4,000, and training to different thing, you know, a jump in that number. And I asked the chief about that because that's the first thing that pops out when I look at this. And I think that what you're seeing is, to Chief Carroll's credit, he is identifying things that were deficient in previous administrations, training that wasn't being done, tests that weren't being done. And so I think you can take comfort that we have a great chief. To Tom's credit, he hired a great chief. And so he's identifying these things that I think all of us knew were happening or weren't happening, and we were frustrated by it, and now it's starting to happen. And we're starting to see the organization ran like the organization should be ran.
All right. Anybody on the MUD have any questions?
I have a general question on salaries, regular, if I could. I was wondering, when you calculated the increase in salaries, how you went about doing that. For example, do you include a CPI urban cost accelerant in that, or how did you do that?
All right, so the change in salaries include a increase to your part-time firefighter pay, and also the amount of time that your part-time firefighter is here. And that was done to look at how often we were down a 5-man crew. And so Chief Carroll went through, estimated that out, and we saw the deficiency. So instead of hiring three more people, so one for each shift, so that you're never down that number, or we increased the amount that we needed for part-time. But as far as estimating out a COLA or a merit increase, we used a 2%, which is factored across organization-wide, and then hatched that out per how many people we had in fire.
Okay, that 2% checks pretty close with what I saw this evening. From May 2016 to May 2017 in the DFW Metroplex, it was 2.1. So I'd say that's extremely close. Thank you.
I have a question. I noticed that the physicals and training went from 8,000 to fiscal year 2018, 0. I'm assuming that there's still a requirement for physicals for firefighters. Can you explain that?
Yes, sir. That again was a line item change. So all of the physicals now are being housed under the line item pre-employment physicals / testing, which is 01256, well, I'm sorry, 01256-52290. So all the required testing is now housed in the same area. Again, this is really just budget tracking for me. Now I can see how much money we're actually spending to test our employees, whether they're new employees or existing encumbered employees.
All right. Council, you have a motion and a second before you.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead and ask.
There's a couple things. This tags along with Councilman's thing. On the vehicle maintenance, you went up, but then fuel and lube, you went down.
Yes, sir. And that's what I was talking about. Fuel, within fuel, we had preventative maintenance costs.
Okay.
I didn't feel like that was necessary to put those in the same line. I wanted all vehicle maintenance costs in those same lines. So whether it's a lube,
Yeah, I missed
whether it's preventative maintenance, what it is, it's all going to be housed in a preventative maintenance line. Only fuel is in the fuel line now.
Okay, so they can they correct that? So it just says fuel and lube?
I can change it. I
Okay.
mean, I can change that on our
Yeah,
part
that's
of
what
the
I'm saying.
budget.
Okay. And then on the building maintenance, does that include any roof repairs?
No, sir. Roof repairs will be completed this year.
Okay, what's the 16, just routine maintenance?
Yes, sir. 16 is routine maintenance.
And then communication, is that just normal increase up to a couple, 8140?
Let me check on that just one
It's
second.
on communication and mobiles.
It went from
89 to 13.
13.2.
Yeah, excuse me.
Oh, yes, sir. On the communication line, a lot of that is firehouse software increases. So the software that we use for our record management system, we had no record management system software for building inspections. So we have added that software. It's basically a module that gets turned on with our current software. So it's not truly a new addition, so we didn't present it as a supplemental request since it's just a module. But those increases are incurred because of that.
Okay, miscellaneous expense, it looks like it always was around 1,000, now it's 6,000.
Yes, sir. Again, this is moving around money is all it truly is. If you look at the budget as a whole, we've dropped that operations budget by about $20,000. What I was able to do is identify where we were spending money on miscellaneous expense, buying everything from hose appliances to foam systems for the truck. Those kind of things they were bounced around all over the places, and so I was just taking all those monies spent and I put them in one area. So that miscellaneous expense will be just as it shows on there. It's mainly just the things that day to day are needed for the fire department. If we need more absorbent for car wrecks, if we need more foam for fighting fire, then all those things are purchases through there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right, Bill?
Well, we've talked about fuel going down, but uniforms took a significant decrease. And can you talk to the 31 down to 66?
Yes, sir. If you also look, we had a significant increase under protective equipment.
Okay, so you moved protective equipment out of the standard uniform category?
That's exactly right. Before we had both PPE and uniforms in the same line item, and what happened was our gentleman that takes care of uniforms overspent that budget into the PPE money because he looked at it and thought he had $31,000. That was prior to my arrival. Now he knows that exactly how much he has for uniforms, and we know exactly how much we have for PPE and other safety equipment like SCBAs.
Thank you.
All right. Council, do you have any questions?
Oh, is this our motion?
So at this point, I have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the budget. I'll call for the vote unless you have a question. All in favor, show your hands. All opposed, same sign. It is unanimous. I'll turn the meeting over to President Carr.
Okay, this is in regards to our agenda 2, consider and take appropriate action regarding the fire protection services fiscal year 2017-2018 budget. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the fire protection services fiscal year 2018 budget as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Vice President Wilson. You have a question?
I was gonna make a motion.
Okay.
I have a second.
Okay, I have a second by Secretary Treasurer Rose. Any discussion?
I would like to point out a couple items. I'm reading off page 195 on the packet. The forecast for revenue and expenses in 2017 is $1,529,000, And in 2018, it's $1,554,000, which is up 1.4%, which is well within the expected cost of living range. And I expected our appraised valuation was go up by more than 1.4, and I think when Renee said the tax rate down a penny, that's an indication that the appraised valuation went up. So I think the numbers appear what you would expect.
Okay. Any further discussion? I see none. All in favor, show of hands. I have myself, Vice President Wilson, Secretary Treasurer Rose, and Director Hayes. All in favor, no opposed. It passes.
All right. Thank you, Mud. So item 11, receive an update from Fire Chief Wade Carroll regarding the fire department's standard operating procedures. Chief, I'll turn that over to you at this point.
Okay, as per the ILA agreement, we needed to get our standard operating procedures approved and in place. Those revisions were completed in the latter part of this month. Were approved by the town manager and were put online and received by all of our city personnel, as shown in your ILA Addendum B attachment.
So, council, for your purposes, we don't take action on this. That is an administrative action that was taken, and you heard the report that the town manager has reviewed and received that. So I'll turn the meeting over to President Carr at this time.
Okay, this is our agenda number 3, receive an update, receive an update from Fire Chief Wade Carroll regarding the standard operating procedures for the fire department. Do I have a motion?
Do we have an action here? We just have an update.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
been received.
Yeah, that's all right.
Good job.
I have a
sir.
question.
Yes.
Okay, this has been loaded to Lexipol, right?
Yes, it has been.
Okay, and then if you look at standard operating procedure, wearing apparel, protective clothing,
Yes, sir.
if you look at the last page of it, it has 2 letter Cs.
Okay.
So you may want to just revise that a little
Yes,
bit.
sir, we will.
Okay, does anyone have anything else? No. Thank you, and
All right.
I appreciate this a lot. It's been ongoing for many years, promised many times, and you've been on board, what, about 3 months now or so?
Yes, sir, since May
Yeah,
1st.
exceptional job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, council agenda item number 12, consider and take appropriate action regarding an amendment to section 7.1 retail customer charge, subsection A of the amended and restated contract for wholesale water supply and wastewater treatment services and water and wastewater operational services. Our packet had a copy of that proposed changes. Seems like you had the same copy, Mud, in your packet, is that right?
That appears to be the case.
So there was what commonly referred to as a red line, although mine's a blue line, but. So,
On 7.1,
7.1, yeah. So the objective here was we kept running into this case where you did a rate change. It said you have to give us 60 days notice. That didn't seem to be the way we would operate. It makes sense to make this change, I think. And so we came up with a proposed wording change. So from council's standpoint, council, this item is properly before you. Would you like to make a motion to approve the ILA as proposed?
I so move.
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
Very well
All right.
written, very well written.
Very well written. Okay, you might consider who submitted it.
It's a joint effort.
Join it. Okay. All right, council, all in favor of approving the ILA as presented, show your hands. All opposed, same sign. It is unanimous. I'll turn the meeting over to President Carr.
Okay, this is our agenda number 4, consider and take appropriate action regarding amendment to section 7.1, retail customer charge, subsection A of the amended and restated contract for wholesale water supply and wastewater treatment services and water and wastewater operational services. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the ILA as amended.
I have a motion by Secretary Treasurer Rose. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second by Vice President Wilson. Any discussion? Director Rose, I'll acknowledge you.
I appreciate, whether it's the attorney or a council member that did the draft wording on this. I think it's well done. Thank you.
Director Hayes, did you have anything? I saw you pull your mic down.
I have no comment.
Okay. And Mike, just to make sure this pertains to anything in that rate order, as in we made changes a little while ago on the days or something like that for the policy. I think it's on water rates or sewer rates.
That is correct.
Okay. Did we notify the town on that change?
We have not yet.
Okay. So this will override that one, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I think at the last meeting, did we make, I don't think,
I
I think we were
the-
supposed to revise it and bring it back.
I think it comes back
Yeah.
to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we haven't
We-
exactly made that
Okay.
change yet.
Okay, I have a motion by Secretary Treasurer Rose, a second by Vice President Wilson. Any further discussion? I see none. Show of hands. All in favor? I have myself, Vice President Wilson, Secretary Treasurer Rose, and Director Hayes. 4, all opposed. I see none. It passes.
All right. I think we've completed all of our joint session items. The council never went into executive session, so we're not going to adjourn our meeting. We're going to merely go into executive session, but I'll do that after you
Okay.
adjourn, if you don't mind, President Carr.
I move to adjourn.
Yeah, we don't need a motion. Trophy Club Mud 1 will adjourn at 8:29.
All right. Let me just read this before we cut the tape off. Pursuant to the following designated section of the Texas Government Code, annotated Chapter 551, Texas Open Meeting Act, the council will convene into executive session to discuss the following. Section 551.072, deliberation regarding real property, to discuss or deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, and deliberation in an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the position of the governmental body in negotiations with a third person. And Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations under subsection 2, to discuss or deliberate the offer of financial or other incentives to a business prospect that the town seeks to have locate within the territory of the town. A description of property is north of Highway 14, east of Trophy Club Drive, and we are in executive session at 8:30. Council, if you want to take a short recess, we'll then get back in place.